All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Welcome to Board of Supervisors meeting. County Council, can you read a closed session?
Yes,
Into the
Chair,
record,
members
please?
of the board, your closed session includes labor negotiation discussions with your designated representatives, Joel Bouguet, your Assistant County Administrative Officer, Shanika Dixon, your Director of Human Resources, and Sabrina Mendez, your Assistant Director of Human Resources, to discuss all units of employee organizations and unrepresented employees, all classifications, but not elected officials under Government Code 54957.6. The second item is under Government Code Section 54956.9, conference with your legal counsel related to significant threat of litigation. One case. Thank you.
Thank you. And skip back, do we have any additions to the agenda?
No additions.
Great, thank you. We'll retire into closed session.
Chair, would you like to ask for public comment on the closed session items?
Now that you mention it, I suppose, we have any public comment? Seeing and hearing none, we'll retire to closed session.
Recording stopped.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to regular session, Madera County Board of Supervisors. Today is September 1st. I'm going to ask our county council, do we have any reportable actions from closed session?
Chair, there's no reportable action from your closed session. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'd like to ask my colleagues if have anyone they'd like to open and close this meeting in memory of.
You know, I did have somebody,
Mr. Chair, I have a couple of folks I'd like to remember. The first one would be Philip O'Berty. Philip passed away at age 83 a few weeks ago. He was a native Maderan, was a District 2 resident, lived out on Road 23, but he and his family very involved in downtown Madera and a lot of development, and just a super individual. And so just want to express my condolences to the family, as well as former Maderan Dennis Chezik. He was, if you were around, say, 25, 30 years ago and prior, you would have known Dennis Chezik. He was, again, a local realtor, very involved in the community, and a great contributor. And he has been living, I think he was living up in Bass Lake for a while, and then has been living on the coast. But again, definitely a great man, contributor, and so just want to remember Dennis as well.
Great.
I appreciate my colleague bringing up Mr. O'Berty, very plugged-in man. He really did a lot of community service, and we really appreciated Mr. O'Berty. I ran into him about a month ago at a restaurant in Chowchilla, and just super friendly guy. We stood there and talked for 45 minutes, and I'm not a real talker, but he jumped in there.
You're not a
kidding.
real talker.
What are you laughing about?
Nothing to say.
Anyway, I really appreciated Mr. O'Berty for his attitude and personality and his service to our community. Also wanted to mention Johnny Romeri, who was a resident of Chowchilla area, for lifetime resident, great farmer, highly respected, and again, another one of those loving, friendly people that when you connect with them and meet with them, they just, they really make the world a better place. And that was the kind of people that Philip O'Berty and Johnny Romeri were. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And with that in mind, we are going to have our invocation by Pastor Nelson Baker of Valley West Christian Center. And I'm going to ask my friend Tom Hurst in the audience after that to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Looks like Pastor Baker is not here, so we're going to have our adjunct pastor, Rob Poitras.
Thank you, everybody, and let's go ahead and pray. Father, we're thankful for just this great day you've given us, this great nation, state, and county, and just the abundance of blessings that are just more than we can measure. We ask that you would guide our decisions today. We pray for each one in the building, pray for their health, and that you would also provide guidance that causes them to walk in your way. We ask this in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
If you just lead us right there.
Lead it right there. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. That's what happens when you just randomly show up. You get voluntold. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. All right, next we're going to have public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members. What happened there? All right, to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Sarah?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board of Supervisors. Sarah BOS, Director of Public Health. And I'm joined by our brand-new Director of Emergency Medical Services. Madera County contracts emergency medical services coordination and dispatch to Fresno County EMS. And Matto joins us with a long career in EMS, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and talk a little bit about his experience.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. My name is Matto Parker, Fresno County EMS, and I'm the EMS director for not only Madera County, but Fresno, Kings, and Tulare counties as well. So it's a really big EMS system, which runs about almost 300,000 calls of service per year. So it's a very busy metropolitan and rural EMS system. Myself, I went to paramedic school in Southern California, but worked at American Ambulance in Fresno. I've been in EMS for almost 30 years now. Most of my professional career has been in education, adjunct faculty at Fresno City College, as well as Fresno Adult School, and in EMS. And I've spent the last 8 years at the EMS agency running the paramedic program and doing quality improvement and specialty care, which is stroke, trauma, STEMI, and EMS for children. And I also oversee certification of about 4,000 individuals in our EMS system. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Matto. I know we have had a great relationship with Dan Lynch over the years, and he's been amazing. So I'm sure that if the torch was passed to you, that we'll be in similarly good hands. So,
yes, absolutely. He was a great mentor, and I'm going to miss him, just I'm sure like you guys are going to as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Just as a footnote, Dan, of course, has plans for retirement, but Fresno County has talked him into a few months stint of running general services, so he is not officially retired from Fresno County yet. And we do have plans in the works to be able to honor him here for his service as our EMS director.
Thank you. And a little birdie told me that there might be some sort of celebration for him tomorrow at some EMS agency place.
That will be next week on the 9th. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Second Wednesday of the month is our EMS meetings, and so we're taking that time as an open house, and so you guys are all invited to come down and say hi to Dan and goodbye to Dan, and we'll send him over to general services.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other public comment in the room? Any online?
None online.
Great. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Do we have any comment from my colleagues on the consent calendar? No. Any public comment regarding the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Move for approval?
Second?
And roll call, please.
Supervisor Poitras?
Aye.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Chair Wamhoff?
Aye.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank you for that. Next, we will move on to our lengthy discussion items.
Behavioral Health Services Department, presentation of a proclamation recognizing September 2026 as National Recovery Month with the theme, We Do Recover Madera.
You want to watch me come up? Good morning.
They're all shy. Come
I
on.
know. I'm shy too, believe me, believe it or not. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Have my team join me here. I'm Nikki Matus, Director of Behavioral Health Services here in Madera County. I'm here today with an incredible team whose dedication makes our work possible each day. We want to thank you for recognizing September as National Recovery Month. Recovery Month is a meaningful reminder that recovery is possible. It honors the strength and resilience of individuals overcoming substance use disorders and acknowledges the families, providers, and community partners who support them. For us in Madera County, it reinforces our ongoing commitment to hope, healing, and recovery year-round. We know that substance use disorders impact individuals, families, and the entire community. This is why our department continues to invest in early intervention, prevention, education, treatment, and long-term recovery supports. These efforts help reduce harm, increase access to care, and create pathways to lasting wellness for our residents. To further bring our community together, Madera County Behavioral Health and our partners are hosting a recovery rally on September 12th at Courthouse Park. The rally is designed to connect people with resources, inspiration, and one another. It will include resource booths offering direct access to local service agencies, a youth leadership forum featuring our Friday night live chapters and their prevention work, and lived experience stories shared by Madera County residents, highlighting courage, recovery, and hope. The rally will also feature a community walk around Courthouse Park. This walk is a visible statement of unity, showing that our county stands together in reducing stigma and encouraging people to seek help when they need it. In addition, we are expanding our reach countywide by offering naloxone awareness trainings in Chowchilla, Oakhurst, and the city of Madera. These sessions will empower community members to recognize the signs of an overdose and confidently administer naloxone. With this knowledge can and does save lives. Thank you for your continued support of National Recovery Month and for your commitment to promoting hope, healing, and recovery throughout Madera County, not only in September, but every day of the year. We look forward to continuing this important work in partnership with you.
Thank you for that, Nikki. Do I have any comments from my colleagues?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for your great efforts. It's definitely a gift to be able to, participate in this type of, it's like a ministry, really, and to be able to have a heart to really bring people that have suffered from substance abuse and to really understand what they're going through. So I just, want to tip my hat and thank you so much, for the heart you have for people to bring them back. And also I know that there's times that they don't respond. And that's something that I know is heavy on your hearts too. But again, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Yeah. Just a quick comment. There is life after drugs when you get free of that. And I'm not speaking from my own experience, but a friend of mine who has made a significant contribution to this community as a result of being freed from meth. And his whole life turned around. If I divulged his name, you would all know him because he's that busy in the community. But I don't want to do that. I'm not without his permission. I know he would say, yeah, tell people there is life after that. But this, it just goes to show you that we need to understand that these are people who can be retrieved. And some, like Rob said, some will be retrieved and some won't. But thank God for the ones that are retrieved and brought back into society, into the fold, as it were, and able to function and do well, and some of them do very well. Some of them do beyond what we could ask or think in their service to the community as a result of what they've been through. It's interesting how when you've been through it, it changes your whole perspective on that very thing. And so thank you for what you do. It does make a difference. There is life beyond these issues.
Thank you for recognizing that. Absolutely. This year, in December, I'll have 20 years in recovery, and I am the result of a community that lifted me up. Result of community services and supports that met me at the door and let me know that there was life beyond what I had already experienced. And so people like my team who are the boots on the ground and doing the work are extremely important in helping people recover. And so I'm very thankful to them all for choosing to do that work every day.
Thank you for your testimony. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's one hell of a success story, right? Now you're director, right?
I can
So,
add to my list now. Thank you.
Yeah. And I guess I'm going to repeat some of the things of my colleagues, but thank you, everyone behind, for all the work that you do. I think on the law enforcement side, it's easy for us to lose perspective on the other side of the treatment and the hope aspect, because, you know, we're so involved in the street and enforcement that we don't necessarily see the backside of that. And I think it's important to get those constant reminders, because that hope aspect is really key. And I'll share just a little story of my brother. And I have 6 of them, so I'm not outing any one of them. But had a long history of meth use, arrested dozens of times. And it took one time for him to be arrested for a felony, drug possession, back when they were felonies, that he was forced into treatment, or he gets a felony conviction on his record. And he spent 3 months in inpatient. And then he turned around and did another 3 months. And that was 14 years ago. And for someone who lived on and off the street his entire life, he's now married. He now has, he got his first child at 49 years old. What that means is that without that hope, without people caring about you on that back end, providing that letting people know that they are worthwhile and they are worth living, and that their life has meaning. And so that is what I want to thank all of you guys for, because that has made an impact on my life, because I don't know everything that happens on the back end, and I know that you guys are doing very meaningful work. So thank you. With that being said, if, you guys have a big group, would you mind coming down to the front for a picture, and if my colleagues can stand in the back here?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Scooch it in, squeeze it in.
And Nikki, if you can get in the middle of this, please. Thank you so much. Yeah, okay, got it.
Can you squish? A bit, if possible. There we go, okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
And before we officially move on, do we have any public comment regarding that item?
None online?
All right, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to item 8B.
Fire
boy.
Department, discussion and consideration of entering into an amendment to Madera County Contract Number 9911J-C-2025 with the City of Fireball.
All right, Assistant Chief Larry Pendarvis, how are you, sir? Good morning. Hit the button there, that'd be great.
There you go. Good morning, Chair, Board of Supervisors. Larry Pendarvis, CAL FIRE Assistant Chief. I'm before you this morning to discuss the renewing of the auto aid agreement with Fireball. The agreement itself has been a long-lasting agreement. It was established back in January of 2009. The agreement is designed to maximize the delivery service by using the closest resource concept. The Fireball provides automatic aid to the designated Madera County agreement area under the standard response plan. The agreement addresses both mutual aid dispatch responsibilities, incident command, personnel, and equipment. How does Fireball respond to Madera County? Fireball responds with the closest resource concept when a unit is available. If there's no unit available, then the automatic aid request is canceled. Units are not required to respond when apparatus, equipment, and personnel are unavailable. So the first unit on scene would initiate the incident command and then would be relieved by the requesting jurisdiction. This slide here depicts actually how it works. First is the initial dispatch, and then we would contact Firebaugh. Firebaugh would then, in fact, if they are available, they respond and provide the service, and then there is an annual reimbursement for their service that they do provide us. This slide depicts the payment mechanism, and that is based on a 4-year average of $250 a call. So in 2024, we had paid Firebaugh $16,250. Do you have any questions?
All right, any questions from my colleagues? Go ahead.
I'll just start by saying that it'd be completely impractical to develop a $10 million facility to house personnel and do what we need to do to protect the citizens of that area and the surrounding area with an apparatus. $10 million versus $16,000 a year. There's just no comparison financially. I understand that this involves priority 1 calls, am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
For medical services.
Yeah, can you define for me priority 1, 2, and 3 calls?
Yeah, and I would like to bring up Mr. Parker if he's available as our SME, our subject matter expert on the priorities on that. I know priorities would be anything with difficult respiration, heart, immediate attention. And then priority 2s, I've got the whole thing about broken down, but I think he'd do a better job as far as giving us the Cliff Note version.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, so priority 1s are going to be life-threatening conditions. So that'd be like a cardiac arrest, a severe difficulty breathing, an allergic reaction, something like that. Priority 2s are going to be emergent but not life-threatening. They also will get a code 3 ambulance, lights and sirens, just like the priority 1s will. And then priority 3s are considered non-emergent. So those usually have longer response times associated with them, and the ambulance response is just normal driving, no lights, no sirens.
Can you define priority 2 a little bit more for me? Give me an example.
An example of a priority 2, it's really broken down by the ProQA process in our EMS dispatch, because we use emergency medical dispatch, which is the International Academy of EMD. And it's without looking at the policies specifically, because we have those online in one of our policies, 401, and it breaks down all the codes. I'd have to refer to that to be able to give you a detailed answer to that. But it was all done based upon just emergent conditions and what the medical director and the EMS director before me decided to break those down into priority 2s versus priority 1.
Like, if, as an example, if I called in and said my boy was riding his bike, he fell and he broke his arm.
That could be a priority 2, or it could be even a priority 3. It just depends on it depends on the questioning and the answers that the call taker gets from.
Like if he bumped his head, that would be concerning. I mean,
yes, it would be. Yeah, it would.
Hit his head or something like that. I'm just trying to get a grip on priority 1 and 2. I know that the number of calls for priority 1 or priority 2 in 2025 was 9. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, that's correct.
And so far this year would be 4?
There's 4 priority 2s, yes. I'm sorry, I was looking at
So we're not talking about a huge number of calls for priority 2. And at $250 a call, I realize that can add up. I'm not interested in, let's say, widening the use of EMS getting a vehicle out there and they're tied up when there could be an emergency somewhere else for a priority 3. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yes.
But I could see the possibility of a priority 2 coming into play there. And at present, the system only involves priority 1 calls. Am I correct?
So fire will respond on priority 1s, and then in the instance that the ambulance is going to be delayed or it's going to be an extended ETA, our EMS Communications Center will request a fire response on priority 2s.
Right. Okay. So I would be interested, just in my thinking, in possibly expanding our service to a priority 2 on those calls, because the calls are so few, for one, on an average, but the ambiguity of the possibility, and that would be something I'd be interested in. So anyway, you can carry on there. I got my answers. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sarah, did you have something?
I did. I did some rough calculations based on the call responses in 2025, just so you have some information to be able to consider what it is you're talking about. So right now, in terms of arrivals from 2025, the cost for priority 1 is $27.50, so pretty low. If you combine arrivals for priority 1 and priority 2, the cost goes up to $4,500. And then if you were to include priority 3, just for your own information, it would go up to $8,500. Just on estimates of 2026, it's for what we have is January through August, so adding another 30% to that. The cost for priority 1, $23.27. Priority 2 and priority 1 inclusive, $36.57. If you go up and include all priorities, it's $56.52. So with a population that's that small, there's a lot of variability in the data. You're not going to have, an exact estimate of the true cost, but we're not looking at extreme costs to be able to include priority 2 and potentially even priority 3 if that's your choice.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't have any desire to extend it to 3. I think that would be a waste of resources. It would be imprudent to tie up a unit that may be needed for something else more important, far more important than a non-life-threatening, when they've already dispatched somebody else to go to that circumstance, and just because they're further away or whatever. That would just be imprudent, and I have no desire to do that. But for the priority 1 and 2, I think that makes sense to me, and that's such a small cost to do that. So anyway, Chief?
Yeah,
your
Supervisor
thoughts?
Rogers, I did contact Fireball and spoke with Battalion Chief Hector Marin, and he is discussing that possibility for the priority 2s, based upon the board's approval, of course. He has yet to get back to me this morning, but I look forward to hearing back from him on that. So
Great.
it is something we are in discussion with.
Good. I might add that I did have a phone call with several residents out in the East Side Acres area. Javier was one. He told me that I could use his name. I called him this morning, and I wanted to know his opinion. And he said he favored the idea of the priority 2 being included in that.
Oh, great.
He thought it was a good idea. He doesn't want to constrain us to that idea, but he felt that it was a good idea. Anyway, that's just my thoughts.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think, my thoughts on expanding to priority 2s are, what are the ambulance response times in that area? If the response times are insufficient, I think we can talk about adding more resources, but a lot of the time having fire on scene, in conjunction with an ambulance is most of the time not necessary,
Right.
Especially for priority 2s. A lot of priority 2s are a homeless guy who calls 911 because he wants a sandwich. We don't give him a sandwich, so then he says he has chest pains. And then we have a priority 2 ambulance coming code 3 to pick him up. So I have a little different perspective on it, but, so, for me, as long as the ambulance response times are within acceptable margins, I think the money's kind of inconsequential. It really just comes down to, is it gonna make a meaningful difference in patient outcome
Right.
if you add fire to, or if you add priority twos to fire response? Am I on base with that, Chief?
Yeah, yeah, and just for the knowledge for everyone today, since American Ambulance has come on board, the delayed response times have minimized considerably. Their response times have been increased quite a bit from our previous ambulance company.
Yeah, I'm just
provider.
talking in this particular area of the,
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know what the response times are for just this one area that we have the MOU for.
I think it averages 17 minutes.
I think Mr. Parker would be able to speak to that.
Yes, yeah, it is a rural response zone.
Right.
So for priority ones and twos, the standard is 20 minutes, and it's about 17 minutes or so, because that closest ambulance, if it's available in quarters, is coming from Mendota. And then if not, then a ambulance is coming from Madera and coming across.
Yeah, so in that case, it might be worth it to add that.
For that time.
Yeah, that
For
was
that
my,
timeframe.
that was my thinking on that as well. I appreciate the law enforcement perspective naturally. I'm not in EMS, I'm not in that world, but I just feel like tying up a unit for non-life threatening is not an option, first of all, and no level 3 at all. But priorities 1 and 2, I could see expanding that. For that amount of money, it's minimal.
All right, well, thank you very much. Any other comments from my colleagues? No? I'll put this out to the public. Do we have anybody from the public wishing to respond on this? And good morning. If you could state your name and county of record, please.
Good morning. My name is Brittany Westbrook. Talking on behalf of Eastside Acres.
Where you live, though?
I live in Firebaugh.
Okay.
Rose Westbrook, my grandmother, is a resident of Eastside Acres. I'm speaking on her behalf. This is my personal experiences with 911 calls in Eastside Acres. 911 is one of those things that nobody really thinks about until you need to use it. And when you need to use it, you expect for it to work. The way that all of you have sat behind a desk and came up with this master plan to work, and that's what we expect in times of crisis for your mother, your brother, your son, your newborn. Unfortunately, for residents of Eastside Acres, we all know too well that this doesn't always happen. Prompt medical services is not something that happens a large majority of the time. We are extremely rural. We are the last stop of Madera County. We are half a mile from the city limits of the city of Firebaugh. Firebaugh Fire Department is a stone's throw away, less than 3 miles from Eastside Acres. They have trained and extremely responsive EMTs that are ready and willing to help. The problem is when you call 911, it's not a direct shot like we all think it is. When you stand in Eastside Acres with an emergency and you call 911, depending on where your cell phone tower pings, you can catch a CHP station, you can catch sheriff's office, or the EMT call center handled by Madera, Fresno, Tulare counties. At that point, if you've caught one of the other two, sheriff's office or CHP, you're then immediately transferred with your medical service over to EMS. At that point, that dispatcher holds literally the response time of your life, of any first responder in their hand, because they make the decision if you're priority 1 or priority 2. As it was stated earlier, priority 1 and priority 2 calls both are emergencies nonetheless. However, today's auto agreement only comes into play if they deemed you priority 1. A priority 1 call automatically triggers ambulance, it triggers CAL FIRE, who in turn reaches out to that resource, that untapped resource that's a stone's throw away and ready to help. However, if it is a priority 2 call, still an emergency, EMT never reaches out to CAL FIRE, which means CAL FIRE then never has the ability to reach out to Fireball, and nobody comes to assist except for your ambulance that is 20, 30 minutes out. I know on paper we're saying we have an average of 17 minutes. Go out into the community. We had Chief Pendarvis, we had our supervisor at a meeting a couple months ago where we heard countless stories from residents where that wasn't the case. Why not use a resource that can arrive in 6 minutes for a priority 1, priority 2 emergency? I ask the board to go back and re-look at this auto aid agreement, because as a civilian, we hear auto aid and we think they're ready and they're gonna help and it's automatic, but it's not. It needs to be triggered by a phone call from CAL FIRE. I've had our own in the last 9 months, priority 1 and priority 2, fall downstairs, hit your head, 87-year-old, cardiac, 26 minutes for an ambulance. That's best case scenario, priority 1. Fireball could have responded, Fireball could have helped. We had people talk at that meeting, their family members never made it to hospitals.
And that's 3 minutes. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Chief, is there anything you'd like to respond to on that?
Yeah, Ms. Westbrook and I have had quite a few conversations, and I've definitely granted adherence to her concerns on that. I feel that moving forward with the priority 2s being included it's not going to completely remedy the situation. I know that being out in a rural area, that there are going to possibly be constraints from time to time on that. We are moving forward, and I am going to be presenting to the board the opportunity to move forward with our CAD to CAD, which will also streamline CAD to CAD with Fresno EMS. And should that get approved, I think that will also improve and increase response times and eliminate the possibility of human error.
Right.
And dispatch calls.
I wanted to just piggyback off of that. I know that you're continually attempting to improve the response times, the ability to get out there. And in fact, our ambulance response times are significantly improved. Am I correct on that?
That is correct.
They're significantly, even on rural situations, have been significantly improved. And I think, as you mentioned, you've already reached out to Fireball in an attempt to include priority 2s. I think that's a good move, good thinking. I think we're on the same page, on the same wave, and you know, no circumstance is perfect. But I want to just say that we've analyzed that circumstance that happened, that you were talking about, and it happened during a transition from one ambulance service to the other. And I'm not justifying what happened, but it happened during a transition. And then since that point, also some dispatch personnel have been replaced in that regard. So there were some circumstances there that were
Yes, there was a myriad of circumstances on that specific.
They're extant to the normal,
Yeah.
so that probably definitely occurred. But when I mentioned 17 minutes, that's not a number off the top of my head. That is a statistic based on very closely monitored arrival times. Am I correct on that?
Right, those are all time-stamped.
Yeah, they're time-stamped. It's not something we play with.
No.
It doesn't mean an ambulance can't get there within 3 minutes, but it doesn't
Absolutely.
mean that an ambulance can't get there in 35 minutes either. So
Yeah, that's
that's the
right.
law of averages, right? So-
Yeah, it's a law of averages. Things happen. And it also depends on availability. And by the way, just as another thought in this regard, even though we have this agreement with Firebaugh and MOU with Firebaugh, and it's been a good MOU, good agreement, covered that area very thoroughly. It's also contingent on their availability, am I
Absolutely.
correct? They could be involved in an emergency circumstance in their own area, so it's not always going to be ironclad. And it's part and parcel of living in a rural community. You know that there are some things that are going to be a result of being out there in a rural community, and that's one of them. I know that because I live in a rural area myself. So we know the response times for some things are going to be slower, and that it's hit and miss on something because the resources aren't unlimited. But we're going to do the best we can to, I think extending this to priority 2 makes a big change. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you are aware that we still send Madera County Fire on all responses, priority 1 responses
Right.
as well.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
just our closest resource concept would dictate Firebaugh being there quite a bit sooner than Madera County Fire.
And you guys do a heck of a job, and there's nothing more comforting than a CAL FIRE guy rolling up when you're in trouble. And I really appreciate what you guys do. It's been my experience a number of times. I don't know why I'm always caught in emergency situations, but I'm always helping other people when I am. I haven't really had any myself, other than other people. So it's just grateful.
And
every
we
time-
appreciate the continued
time you guys
support from the
respond.
board.
Thank you.
We really do.
All right, and Madera, did you have something to add to this?
I wanted to provide a little clarification on the 911 call dispatch. A lot of the times, most of the time, we start ambulances right away, regardless of priority 1, 2, 3, because at that point in time, it's not categorized yet. As the call taker gets more information from the 911 caller, then that priority gets assigned. But we already have an ambulance starting that way, and then if it gets downgraded, along the process, then it does. But
Fantastic.
we do start resources immediately.
That's great. Great to know. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the public? Or yes?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was just looking at the item, and I was just wondering, the item is in amendment to the agreement, C 2025, mutual aid calendar year 2025, and authorize the chair to sign. Is that it's something we're doing retroactively, or is that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Gotcha.
I questioned that with my office assistant as well.
Great.
That is correct.
One other question. In the event we come to an agreement with them on a priority 2, you'll come back to us with that?
Yes, I
Okay,
definitely
thank you.
will.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once I've got that, and I'll have it drafted up with agreement with Firebaugh to add
Perfect.
that, amend that.
Thank you. And another question that I have is the fee still charged if fire is canceled prior to arrival?
Yes.
So any dispatch, got it. All right, I'll bring it back to the board for any questions or for action.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Thank you.
Supervisor Portress?
Aye.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Chair Walmhoff?
Aye.
Vote passes 3-0.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that.
I see some more residents of Eastside Acres back there. Good to see you. Thank you for bringing your concerns.
All right, at this time, do we have any pending legislation?
No pending legislation.
Got it, thank you. And we will jump to supervisor and staff reports. Do we have anything?
Chair, I have no
Virginia?
report.
No.
Thank you.
Nothing to report.
I don't have anything to report this time.
Nothing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of things. Number one, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Ted back there. So, happy birthday. Very good. Second of all, I know sometimes people make a big deal out of it, and happy birthday and all that, but anyway, still wanted to recognize you. Second of all, most of you know by this time that we did receive final funding for widening Highway 99 about 10 days ago. And so the groundbreaking will be taking place in February. And also one of the actions was, because we do have Measure T, we received $5 million from the state of California. That's just kind of just a small amount of money that is part of leveraging that measure. We would not receive that money had we not passed. Actually, it's for the current measure, but also this is money that will continue to come as the years go by. So that was kind of a nice bonus. And the third thing I wanted to bring up, this is more of just an awareness type of situation. Back in, I don't know, 2013, 2014, as City of Madera, we started a Citizens Academy, and it was really successful. We had people going to the academy that were very vociferous, very held the city in contempt, and just knew that we were not spending the money properly and this and that. Well, they went through the Citizens Academy, and they were really, really complimentary. They came out of the Citizens Academy aware of at least city government and how money was spent and the different buckets and the different functions of city government. And I just saw on Facebook the other day, City of Madera has another Citizens Academy session. And they also have a separate one for law enforcement. But it just kind of hit me. There's been a few times over the last 10 years that I've been on the Board of Supervisors, I've thrown the idea out, and it hasn't been exactly met with a lot of enthusiasm, So I would, again, like to encourage our county to consider putting together a Citizens Academy. I know that our district attorney has her own that she's conducting. I believe it's already started or it's going to start this fall. And I believe our Sheriff's Department potentially has a similar thing. But it's something we really need to do. It's called about education for our community. And I mean, it's been very, very successful across the street. And I think it would be very, very successful here in the county. We receive a lot of inquiries from people around the county about for instance, our roads. How do we prioritize our roads? What type of funding do we have? We're not utilizing it the way we should. We get a lot of complaints. And I think if we had an academy where we not only had people participate, it would probably have to be online because of the size of the county. But if we recorded some of these sessions, they'd be available that we could send to people who had questions in regards to what's going on and how this works, how Measure T works. Again, things about, law enforcement, the jail, other departments within the county. So it's nothing that I want to have a fire drill on right now to rush and put something together, but I really would like to have us seriously consider the need to, or the opportunity we have through this type of mechanism that's proven to be very, very successful and has really provided a lot of great education for people to have that item. And again, different times when people say, well, how about this, how about that? Well, we could provide a link for whatever that area is and send it to them and say, okay, here is what the process is, the procedure. We don't have to have it every year. But, if we record the sessions and have the information, but that's something I think we should look at. Thank you.
Great. I think that makes a lot of sense, and we'll call it a Citizens Academy, not the Senior Citizens Academy.
Well, we'd have a special session for senior citizens. Yeah, we have to have that. And by the way, we also, I was just going to mention, we do have employee orientation to where we do spend a day educating our employees. So, and it's important to educate our employees about what all the departments are doing in the county that are working in, but I think it's just as important for the people who we work for. We have to remember who we work for. It's just not an organization. Our citizens don't work for us, we work for them, and we need to keep people educated. Thank you.
If I may apologize, Chair, if you'll grant me a brief reprieve here to also piggyback a little bit with Supervisor Poythress's comments. We did discuss this at Pitt, and we will continue to discuss this concept and see about getting it before the board here. I also failed to mention, and so my apologies, but certainly wanted to invite everybody out for our annual 9/11 memorial at 9 a.m. out at Courthouse Park on the 11th. So,
Great, thank you for that. And thank you for spearheading 9. You're going to be known as being Mr. 99. So, and your efforts around Measure T and the consequences of not having a local funded measure. I mean, those are the types of things that when we were talking about educating the public about how consequential these things are, because so often many people just look at the ballot and they say, oh, another tax, forget that. What do you get for that? What is your return on that money? And so that education piece is very, very critical. On my end, last Wednesday, I attended a water forum in Turlock that was hosted by our Congressman Tom McClintock. There was former Congressman Radonovich there, former Congressman Duarte there, and others, where talked about all things Valley Water, but not in the traditional sense that most people talk about water. It was really about what could be done on the federal side to cut red tape and streamline things from that sense. He had multiple people from EPA, from Fish and Wildlife, Bureau of Reclamation, and talked about real impediments that are happening and how we could break down some of those barriers. So it's one of those higher level discussions. Not sure how much it's actually going to move the needle, but it was nice to actually see those people that are appointed to these federal offices that are, seeming to be pretty responsive when it comes to that. I also, last week, toured the Ronald McDonald House at Valley Children's Hospital. It's my second time touring that, but the first time was 15 years ago or so. And for those of you who don't know, the Ronald McDonald House houses parents and siblings of those who have a critically ill child who are being treated at Valley Children's. They are housed and fed at no charge, and they do have to be referred by a hospital caseworker. But last year they served almost 300 families there free of charge. And so it was really nice to see what they're offering right here in our own backyard, and just that little respite for those that have a critically ill child that maybe the family lives in Bakersfield, and it's just too hard for them to commute back and forth, and maybe they don't have the means to get a hotel. So it's those types of things that if you have a small child who's undergoing chemotherapy and or whatever the case may be, that you can stay close by. So I encourage anyone who has a few extra bucks in their pocket if they want to contribute to Ronald McDonald House. And fun fact, when I was 18 years old, I used to drive the real Ronald McDonald to events. So it was one of my first paid gigs. So pretty interesting. The contract I had to sign was also very interesting. All right, with that being said, we will resume back into closed session. All right.
wonderful granddaughter with
Microphones
Michael
are
Moore.
live.
Do we need anything different than just this meeting's adjourned? Any reportable action from closed session?
There's no reportable action from closed session. Thank you.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.